Um, just to recap where we were at, we've completed modeling part two in the yesterday session. And then now we are going to start covering CLI, command line tool or um, terminal based or command prompt based administration tool. It's not explicitly an administration tool, but you can also use it for development activities. That can be very script based in nature, and you wanted to automate the process using a program. Then you can run the program or programming language script um, by connecting to the data sphere system. And then, so the way that you can apply this process is using the command line interface um, to be able to do that. So let's understand how do we set up DSP, Datasphere CLI, um, and then we can understand a little bit of um, more information about how these automations can happen in the Datasphere CLI using CLI. So there is a documentation link that you can find as in the support content. This is what we've been looking at. So there's a link to that, so you can download it. This is a how-to guide for command line interface setup and usage. So we will go through this setup, and then we will see some commands usage as well. So let's start with installation of CLI on your machine. So as the name suggests, it is command line interface is a client installation or machine-based installation that you will be doing on your machine or any remote machine that you have. If you've been assigned or you got it assigned for your work. So that remote machine or your personal machine can have the command line tools installed, command line interface installed. Um, let's start with the process. Yeah, you know the prerequisites are access to Datasphere. You have a valid Datasphere account with the right privileges to set up the CLI, and you have an administrator role. The global administrator must be a global administrator in order to in order to configure the CLI tool. You got Chrome browser. That's very simple. So sometimes you may not get administrator roles. So they may say admins only will have the access. So you wouldn't have access to the CLI directly. It depends on organization to organization. In case if you don't have access to administration or administrator role, then you can prepare the instructions and put it in a script, and then you can give that to administrator so that he or she can run it. So CLI, some information about CLI. You can what you can do with CLI. It's like your CF CLI or Cloud Foundry CLI or Access CLI in HANA or AWS CLI. Any cloud software, you will have a not only cloud software, I mean any general softwares, you will have terminal based access to perform the backend actions. They are called CLIs. So we will install the CLI. Actually, I installed it, but I will repeat the installation again. The first step is to install the Node.js. So this CLI is built on Node.js platform. It's not Python, it's Node.js. So you will need Node.js software running on your machine as a first primary prerequisite for that. And then the setup can be done in the command line prompts. Once it is, uh, so first step is going to be setting up the NVM node version manager or some. I don't remember what is NVM all about, but you just get the recent release from NVM. So you can get it from online. This NVM is available online. Node, you can download it from Node Package Manager also. Just download it. Yeah, so Node.js version management NVM is all about. So you can go and get that download from the download now. I already downloaded it, and then I can show you where I downloaded it. It must be in my downloads. So I think I moved it. So that's fine. So what happens as soon as you download this one? It's going to get you a package for you. This is NVM exe. This is what basically you need. An NVM setup is going to make a downloadable install for NVM package. So you can go and run the NVM setup. Um, no, actually, this is getting it to from the download. Let me download it first so that I can run this NVM setup zip file. So as soon as you download this zip file, it gets to your local machine, and then you can start following the documentation from there. So I'm going to put this doc in the setup. Download NVM. So yeah, you got it downloaded here, and then unzip, extract all. So you have this NVM setup, and then you can run it. So it's asking for Node.js version management. So accept it and then say next. It's a different directory. So I already have the the NVM installed, so it's asking for a different directory. So I can put this in the, yeah, you can see node modules are already installed on my machine, so I don't really have to do it again. But if you are doing it, you can just install the NVM for Windows there. So once you have NVM set up, go back to the CLI, open the zip file, and then run the NVM setup executable. The setup for a Windows installation will take you through the setup steps, including choosing the directory where both NVM Windows and Node.js will be installed. So with that, you will be installing Node.js and as well as NVM Windows. As soon as your installation is completed, you select a directory which is uh, you can use this default directory that I have chosen, or you can put it in a different directory. Since I already installed, I didn't do this step. If you already have installed an older version, you can update it also. But let us check um, what version I have. You can say the command. No, actually, put it in the small, and then just go here, command shell, and just get the NVM version. So I don't know, LS or it is NVM. Yeah, so currently using 64-bit and 22 is the version. You can also check node version by typing node. It's 22 node version. 22 V2215 is my node version. So node version manager will help you to update or upgrade your Node.js to the different versions. So I have my Node.js installed. This is all good. Now you got JavaScript running on the application so that you can perform server-based activities using Node.js. And these server-based activities are Datasphere CLI in this case. So the second step is to install the current. We did this one already. So 22 is the latest version, so I don't have to really worry about. Um, you can check the list by running nvm list. No, this will get you what are the different versions of what is it list. So it's only displaying the latest version, but that is good. I think 22 is the latest version in Node. So we have the latest version, so there isn't any problem. To add a version of the Node.js, we can update the current install. We can also do this nvm install. This will add the newer version, but we are already on the 20, 22, so we are good there. Yeah, if you have several, this is all setting up Node.js. We don't have to worry a lot about it. We already have the Node.js set up. Ninth step, again, this is to uninstall the older version and run it again to get the newer version, and we uninstall and then install again. Once you have the Node.js installation completed, then the most important step is 15, which is installing Datasphere CLI. So this is an NPM. Uh, Not sure whether you heard about NPM. At a certain time, NPM is very popular in SAP world for CAPM and even for native HANA developments. It has thousands and millions at least of packages where you can directly um read them and use them in your programming to build a interface or a full stack application. Uh, it was the preferred choice for many reasons in SAP world for application development and also for database development in the past. But recently, with the more use cases on the data has been shifted towards Python, uh, that's when we are using Python libraries like NumPy, Pandas, and etc. as part of data engineering. That's where data engineering is going. At the beginning, like 5 years ago, for data engineering use cases in SAP world, we were using Node Package Manager or Node.js a lot. That's all about XSA HANA cloud development started with Node only, Node.js only. Python was introduced very late in XSA development, even in the CAPM development of business application studio. But now, because of other reasons, Node Package Manager is not very suitable for any of the data engineering technologies or data engineering libraries, so we're not using it. But still, there are some tools still based off npm or Node.js. Node.js is also another open source thing. So if you look at this one, you will get the full documentation of CLI. So you can see Node Package Manager. Every library you search for packages, you get thousands of hits sometimes, and you can also see who prepared it, homepage, and then how many downloads so far. In every week, it is downloading 168 at the average, actually, uh, weekly downloads. And then current version is 2025 8. This is the CLI um, version that's currently available, and then its collaborators is fully owned by SAP. It's not open for anybody who can go and update the content. But in general, NPM modules are, you can go and find a lot of modules, and like Python libraries and modules, you can go and get any similar module from Python, Node.js. So this is why you can find a nice document. You may find some documentation in SAP website as well, or you will find, of course, because it's an SAP's own. But at the same time, anything that is a part of Node.js, they have to put the documentation in Node website, NPM website as well. So you can see the commands running here, the bash command, if you're using another terminal, like not the CMD Windows, but if you're using Linux or something, this is how it looks like. So you can still run this Datasphere. But before you're going to check this one, you need to run the first step, npm install CLI. So it is going to read the program. It is going to read the Node.js package and then get the files from this application and install it on your machine. This is what it is going to do. So you can read about all this installation. It's pretty simple. You are running the npm install and then keep the Datasphere CLI. You can put the latest, but by default, it is going to get you to the latest. This is what I've done. So you can take the command either from this one, but this is more better, or go here and then just take it. So this is showing you Windows. So it's better if you're using MacBook or any other Bash terminal, then go for these ones. But it doesn't matter. They're just simply. So I already installed the Datasphere. So I don't know whether I can install it again or not, but it's going to overwrite if I'm installing it again. I So as soon as you finish installing Node.js and you make sure you made sure that Node.js is installed by checking the version and everything, and then you start installing Datasphere npm. It's like pip install if you're familiar with Python. So we do a lot of pip installs, right? So something like that. Npm install is to install that. Okay, it changed a little bit. I don't care. It wouldn't be any effect of it. Now, as soon as you finish this step, now you can say Datasphere version. And that's when this command is recognized. Datasphere command is recognized, and then you will get the version of the Datasphere command line command or the latest release of Datasphere installed. If you don't put the version, it's going to get you the latest version support. So this is the latest version support. So we installed it. And what is the next step? And then we will connect to the Datasphere application. So how do we connect? It is most logical and most commonly used authentication is OAuth. So remember, we connected to Datasphere or HANA Cloud using Postman as a manual testing purpose. So what we were doing is we set up a OAuth, the client ID and secret in the system where we wanted to access, and then use that credentials. Use the credit by using the credentials, and we will access the tenant. In Postman, we tested it manually, but in general, that is going to be another client application that is going to read the data from or access Datasphere. That could be Power BI, and that in that case, or any other external Excel clients, or whatever the clients that can access the API. What we did is we used the Postman tool to just to test manually whether that functionality is working without directly going and running from Power BI to Datasphere. But Postman is not a client tool, explicit client tool to use. It's just a client tool, of course, but it's only for manual testing. But there we are testing APIs, API service API provided by Datasphere. Now you have um, now we are not going to test the APIs. We are accessing the command line to completely it's like operating system based access that you go and get the back end of the system. So for external client, this is the purpose of it is really little different than consumption of the objects through APIs. So consumption of the objects through APIs, we discussed a lot about it. Now we are not consuming them. We are performing some actions inside the Datasphere system using command line tools. You can create a data flow, you can create a replication flow. This is not the purpose of APIs that we saw for consumption. So here the purpose is totally, and you can automate running the process chains or task flows, task chains by putting them in a script and put a custom schedule, whatever customization that you wanted to do, you can do it in a script using a Node.js program or Python program and connect to the Datasphere and then run it. You don't even have to get to the Datasphere system at all. As an administrator, many times you always work in command line tool or operating system, what is it, CLI tools to work in to perform transportation, security management several times. Administrators work in the administrative tools. So that is what it is more. So you can consider that this is not my area. If you say, yeah, that's also, if you can, I mean, it's debatable, but I see that there is no clear line drawn between administrator and developer to use the command line tools. But 95% of the times, big projects, admins will definitely take the role of managing the command line tools by not giving this to developers. But they don't know anything and they don't do anything. Whatever you give, they will execute it in command. This is very funny and very, that's how it happened everywhere. The administrators will be there and they don't understand anything what you're going to do, but they will manage the application. Very, very sad and funny cases. You give the script and then they just go and run them in the command line tool. So we're going to see how do we run the script. It doesn't need any brainer for running the script. You just go and put it in the same like transportation, security apply. Developer will provide whatever required to be run, and then admins will come and just execute it. For what reason, I really couldn't get after 15 years. Let's see. Um, so now, so yeah, you understood the CLI installation, versioning, authentication. So this is the next important step that we wanted to make. So this time we are not authenticating for API usage, but we are authenticating for something else, which is like accessing the client fully. So you choose the option interactive usage. You can create an what is that called? Let me go and show you in the Datasphere system so that you can follow it correctly. Um, this is installation. I think too many gates will make you confused, but it's okay as many as. So sometimes you may get more better information in other guides. So that's how, this is an example. we'll get the first step to have the authentication setup is to have the OAuth client set up as a pre. So how do we have done enough now, at least 3-4 times. So I'm going to access the Datasphere system in the BTP home. And again, you wouldn't be able to do this on the trial system, not even on the trial system, most likely in your, as even though you're working, you wouldn't be doing it. 99% administrator will be doing it. Then we go to administration, system, administration. And then in the administration, we go to the developer app integration and OR the clients. We set up at least quite a bit, quite a number of client IDs. So you're going to create another one. I already created one here. So you can, there's nothing really that you need to do. It's like any other, you select interactive usage, and by that it's going to become authorization grant. It's two-leg, remember two-leg and three-leg authentication that applies. Same thing. You just redirect URI is because it is going to be your local machine. I'm not using this client authentication for Power BI or any other system or SAC system. I'm using it for on my machine client command line interface. So that's why I gave local redirecting to local machine, local host, and then it's nothing. So that's the only thing that you will have to set up. So you can see how does it look like. Just give the name, interactive usage, and API access. I'm not using this for API access as I said, it's going to be interactive usage and then authorization code. Redirective URL will be your localhost 8080. That's as soon as you finish this one, you get a client ID and secret. So you copy them. So this is your client ID and then secret is followed here. So grab those ones. And also, of course, you need the authentication URL. This is common, of course. It doesn't change. Keep it the authorization URL saved. If you can remember from the beginning sessions, we did this copy paste. So for Power BI, we gathered this information. For, I mean, it's not Power BI, it's a Datasphere only, but we generated a client ID and secret for Power BI authentication. Similarly, for SAC, we generated one ID secret, and then we generated another ID and secret for DSP CLI. So it's three different times we used the OAuth authentication, and you can check this. These two are for API usage, the first one and second one, and this is for the interactive usage directly. So that's it. That's the key thing. Once you have set up the OAuth client, and then we come back to that's it. That's the only configuration that you have to do it in Datasphere. And come back to the command line tools, and then run the uh, authentication process. So you can see the authentication process listed in both documentation places. Either you can read from this one, this is installed, and then you check the Datasphere version, and then step 2, you got this authorization URL, token URLs, all these things from administration. This is all we have done. Interactive usage, choose the local host, and everything is done. And finally, you took the setting up the connection. So host URL, client ID, secret, and authorization URL. You have all this information by this time. So now you just put together and run a command saying that Datasphere login. That's the command for uh, logging into the Datasphere system, and then provide these 4 parameters: host like this, and then client ID and secret 2 parameters like this, and then finally authorization URL. So you put the authorization URL just like this. So once you run this statement, then you are connected to the Datasphere application that we're currently working on. So you can check that now, or you can individually set these ones also. For example, in the other npm documentation, I guess it's not there. Think where is npm documentation? Right. No, this is, I probably would have closed it. Yeah, I closed the npm documentation. I can open it again. It's just the site is npm. Just go npm home. You can just look for Datasphere installation. Oh, actually, this is the site. I can use this site directly to get to that installation page. So you got the installation, and you can, where is that? Let me just get to the direct. I don't want to complicate it, but just say simply there is one thing that you have to get to the installation authentication. Yeah. So login, Datasphere login, authentication, and your client ID. Yeah, it's just I think every time they put it in one statement instead of running it multiple statement. But what I did, I split them in multiple times also. So you can do one this way. You can set the URL first, host. So configure host set. This is another parameter for Datasphere. And then your host will be this one. And then once you set the host, your client ID, secret, and authorization can be set as part of log. Or you can even you can use the host parameter in the Datasphere login command itself. So that is going to be what um, it's going to be host. And then the host will be this one. It's pretty simple as it is. The documentation will guide you on what it is, but it's pretty simple. You just grab that and then put it in here. Datasphere login. Um, okay, so the other steps were not taken. Basically, the enter will not be identified. That's the see what, but you need to just get these four parameters. These three lines were not copied over there. So you can put it in a notepad or somewhere just to get to this. So you don't need the enter written command. You just for understanding or for putting in a better formatting that I've used that enter. So what happens if you say enter, that wouldn't be considered as the um, one line. So you need to just remove the things and then just give space. Only space is allowed there. Client ID secret, and then the last one is authorization URL. Just go there, and that's it. Now you can do this one. Put it in the command line tool. So it should be okay. And then it wouldn't complain, and then you just get returned to the C, which means you are connected to Datasphere. So basically, you need this one step, that with the parameters that you have. As soon as you made sure this step is run, now you are connected. You can check the connection by running Datasphere and then users list. That's one of the commands that you can test it. So if it is connected, it is going to go into the system and then bring the users in JSON format response. So the same thing, API in an API world, you will have a API URL for doing the same thing. So similarly, you can go and run Datasphere space list. If it is a wrong command, it will complain, and then I think, did you mean spaces? Okay, just give me that. You can run this. It's going to read the spaces. I have 4 spaces created in my Datasphere tenant. So you can uh, do a lot of other activities there. So if you wanted to see what are the possible activities, get the Datasphere help command. So you will have configuration parameters, manage your and log in and log out, marketplace and objects. This is our core command. You are not the marketplace, sorry, the objects. You can manage all our modeling objects like task chains, like any objects that you are going to work. So far, you are working graphically. You can control them in the command line tools. You can create scope roles. You can create spaces here. Um, you can create users, and many times you may have to create the users from here. This is very common use case that, let's say you got 100 users and you wanted to create them using some parameters mapping file. You wouldn't be able to do it with mapping file. You can do the member of a space. I mean, Datasphere users you can create, but there is another thing that database users. You go to the space and explicitly create the database users for each space. That you wouldn't be able to do it in the graphical interface for multiple users. I mean to say, if you are here in the Datasphere system, you can create this role maintenance and user maintenance for this application access. You can do some import functionality and you can create massive users based on certain configuration. That is fine. That's fine, totally fine. It's not specifically any exclusion. But there is another thing that you may have to create in the data builder, actually space management. If you select space, you create database users in the space. In the database access, so you can see there is no way that you can import mass users into this database users section. You will have to create individual each user, which is going to be a nightmare for you if you have to do it 1,000 users that are to be part of database as well in order to get the access to database. I generally don't do that. But some projects, they may have um, to have database users created for business people as well. Um, the reason is mixed modeling. Many cases they wanted to do the mixed modeling scenarios, and that's when they need access to, they will have to be set up as database user as well. Otherwise, you create only developers as database users and then make work. So it's only handful. But if you get a requirement to have hundreds of business users who are going to use native HANA Cloud as well, then they must be set up um, through create database user, which you cannot do this from here. Oh, sorry, from, yeah. I mean, one user at a time you can do, but not multiple users. So that's one use case that you can think. There are many use cases that you may have to use command line tools. We'll come back to the use cases little after, 5 to 10 minutes. So well, let's finish what we started. So, and then workload management is to control balance server assignment, resource assignment, etc. You can do a lot of things inside. These options will let you get each of the command will have certain options. So you can understand these options from the documentation that we have. So the documentation for this one is right there. So you're going to follow. Oh, now this is for setup. Let me finish the setup. I think this is done. Set up local host. So we were able to. There is another thing that you don't want to give the connectivity directly. Instead, you put the secrets in a JSON file like this, and then read authenticate using JSON file. That's much better way to access the instead of directly giving the user ID and secret in the console. But I'm not I'm not doing that right now, but it's good practice to put it in a separate file or user credentials, the ones that I given, and then put run that so that it doesn't go to the security risks. And delete users. Oh yeah, and once everything is done, there it's a test. You run the users list. Um, you can put it in a JSON file and run the so yeah, you can say now you wanted to walk through creating some users first. You can put this in a JSON format directly in Datasphere or put it in a JSON file like add.json and then run that JSON by command from the command prompt run. Datasphere users create and choose the file path C drive and then add JSON. Add JSON is going to contain the username. So if I wanted to create 5, 6 users, I can do this. It doesn't have to be this use case. What they've shown here is not a real use case because you can easily create multiple users at a time from Datasphere security roles. That's not a problem. That is the security. But this one, database user creation is a challenge, not the Datasphere user. There's a difference between database user of Datasphere and Datasphere application user. Application, this is in this case, they are talking about application users. By default, it is application users. Come back to the, yeah, we will talk more about this one now. So let's see where we are at in the documentation. Users delete, you can do that. Spaces, you can manage the space, you can create the space, you can change the workload parameters to increase or decrease the resource allocation. The spaces list, you can see, create a space, you can create a space. You can create multiple spaces by reading the file from your local machine that is stored in JSON format. So it's pretty simple. And then you can list the spaces. These are some of the exercises that you can. And then you will be good. That's it, right? So we have seen all this. We didn't create a user, newly user, because the license has to be there, of course. You can create a use spaces by going and grab the text from there and then put it in a JSON file. So just the JSON file, you can say, if you're not comfortable with the JSON file format, yeah, you can just use Visual Studio Code. It gives some better file format options so that you don't worry about a lot of syntax issues for data. Just um, prepare your data in JSON format, and then yeah, usually object notation, JavaScript object notation is always going to start with the square, the braces. What is it? I don't use that. I'm trying to find the one on the key where it is to be. Yeah, found it. This one. So you put the object and then data entries in this one. So you can see Um, yeah, file is going to be something like that. So within that, this is for users. You can also put it for, you need to know the column names that you need to pass to have a space create. Whatever the parameters that space required, mandatory parameters, you must provide them in the file. If they are optional, you can leave. Similarly, for users, you need this user ID, first name, last name, embedded in the brackets, and that contains one record representation and then second record representation, like that. So JSON format, put it in there, and then upload that file, this file, in the command line tools by reading the file path. So that's how you can create some certain tasks. So now as I said, let's go to the documentation, understand what are the other use cases that you can do with the Datasphere command line tools. So I'm closing this one, closing this user guide as well. So you got those documents. I'm closing this user guide as well. That's the Datasphere node package. Um, Help documentation. It's going to take you to the H command, or you put it in a SAP community or SAP help is what they are suggesting. So this is not going to require any further. And then finally, yeah, here. So you can see whatever the options that you can do, it's given a list of, it's for connecting, installation and connecting, it's detail, command line roles and privileges. You can say Datasphere DB users. So let's take a look at this one. So far we were looking at application user. Now we're looking at DB users. DB users. What are the options that I have? I need to provide that options right after DB users. Do I create or list whatever? What does that I want? DB users list. So it's going to go and find in the, okay, it's not a valid command to display. So I need to understand what is a valid command. The command line requires the same privilege. Yeah, I do have privileges on the, I do have this one. So for some reason, I have to understand what are the options that I have on the DB users. Let me come back to that particular one. In order to go and find those ones, I will go and check in the documentation. So let's see, user access, right? That's the first thing. Manage users via the command line tools. So you can DB Datasphere users, that's what we, and then options use list. That's what we tested. And create users, user create file path, we have tested that. And then from JSON file, you can do that. Update users, delete users, so this is all we've done. And then manage global roles. You can prepare the roles, list the roles, add users to the global roles. There are commands for every action that security needs to be done. So you can go through them. And then managing spaces. You can manage the space users via the command line tools again. So this one now is going to get me to the space users. So it's not the, it's application user, but it's going to display users in the space. So because you may have user, but the user doesn't have to be part of the space. So for that, come on, what is the command? I need to give the space ID. And then I will be able to display. So you can add the users to the space by spaces, users, and add space ID and file path so that all the users will get added to the space. So this is the command, users read and space ID. Let me put it in IT Central. Who are the users in IT Central? thing. Where is my command? Provide a value space ID. So it's not understanding the IT central as the space ID because it's name of the space. I think there is a technical name for space ID. So I will escape and then get the space. So let me get to the Datasphere spaces list. Oh, this is the correct one. IT Central is the right one. For some reason, it didn't understand space users read. Let me see some examples to get the right formatting. Okay, so I need to prepare. There is no. I think I'm not doing the right statement. It is to add, update, or delete um, actions. It's managing the space users via the command. So it's not list space users giving me read and then space ID. Um, the space I have to give and then ID I have to put. So what I was doing, I just didn't put the s- space letter there. So it is going to get me everything here, there, and there I have to give the something like space and then IT central. So that's how it is recognizing the command. So syntax is important. So we'll have to get the right syntax so that you. So what I was doing, I didn't give this particular space uh, keyword there. So that's why I didn't display. So now you will be able to get the users in the space. So similarly, there are several activities that you will be. I'm looking for something to update the database users so that you will be able to follow on that. Yeah, you can see database users passwords, resetting database user. So many times you may have database user password got deactivated or reset, and then you will be not having the password retrieval because as soon as it is only available for the first time. So let me show you that. This is another good example. So you look at this one. This user has been created, and then once you have the information page, the password is not visible. Really, you cannot really grab the password once you lost it. So only it is available for the first time. So if you do not save it, then, or user doesn't have it, then you wouldn't be able to access this password. And then you have to request for a new password. It's going to be taking few seconds and get you, but you cannot do it this action for 10 or 50 database users. So you'll have to reset 50 users database password. The only way that you can do is to upload the users in a JSON file and then come back here and then read the uh, file um, to write the output. I mean, we are not reading the output. For example, here database user, you take this person and then put it in a file as an output so that this password will be written to that file and then this file will be shared with the user. So let's say you can do this one even here at this time, you can do this activity for one user. But let's say you have 100 users. How do you do? Again, this and that's when the scripting comes into places. So you put this statement, same statement, what we did, reset space, database user, this guy. Instead of giving the hard-coded value of that person, you put a loop there to read the users list or database users list from the space and then execute this command for each user and then put the data output in a file. So that's how you generate a script. Let's take a look at that script generation now. Um, and then you can also create modeling objects, like creating data flows, creating replication flows. You can do a lot of these things. Oh, sorry, this is using graphical interface, but you can manage those via the command line tools. Um, if you're familiar with the syntax that you have, CSN syntax is generally, then you can upload the syntax and create the object. So there's syntax for that one, and then have this control there. And then lastly, this is for tasks, the task chains. You can control the schedules. You can change the parameters of that task chains runs and everything. Okay, now that's pretty much we wanted as a each and every command line. Let's take a look at and run some program on how we can automate the process. So I didn't prepare anything for this exercise. So I just copied from one of the blogs to get copied that and then use that same case for here. But the good use case for this one is going to be the one I just shown. Like read the database users from using another command, put it in a temporary table in a program, and read the temporary table one after the other, each looping by looping, and then process the reset password or creation of the users, whatever the activity that you wanted to do it for 1,000 users in one shot. That's where you can use the script. So let's take a look at how we can create the script. I'm using PyCharm. Sorry, not the. Yeah, I'm using PyCharm as a client tool, but you can use Visual Studio Code Editor and use the um, any Sublime, any tool that you can work on programming, you can use. It doesn't have to be PyCharm or VS Code Editor. Basically, you're going to create a file of type py. So I see PyCharm preferred because it's very comfortable in doing it here. Um, if you are using Visual Studio Code Editor, you just install the extension, which is going to be available for Python. And then you will be able to set up. This is all pretty easy. One time setup, you set up the install Python, it's going to install for you. I don't have to do it if I'm using PyCharm because it's already, but whatever the case, whether you're using Visual Studio Code Editor or this one, unless you have a cloud-based runtime available to practice your work, if you're doing this on your personal machine, then you will have to install Python, download the Python from download the Python from open source modules, install it on your personal machine. And that's when you can see, let's say if you wanted to check, I think I don't remember Python V, it's not Python command. Yeah, there must be py Python. Okay, let me check it in the tools that where I have in here, because when it's Windows Shell terminal, but it's installed. Otherwise, you don't see the runtime interpreter here. Let me see idle. I have idle. Idle is the default client that comes up with Python installation. So you can say, yeah, it's installed. It's 3.3.13, which is the latest. So you can even test it by running some. Oh, sorry, 3 plus 2 is 5, and then or declare um, some variables and then print it just whatever that you wanted to um, do, like and then it's going to return the values after hello world. I mean, this is which makes sure that you have installed Python there. That's good. So now you can use any client that can run. your Python program. So I just copy pasted this program from other, but you need this pandas library. In order to get this pandas library, so any library that you don't have, then you need to install that by running the pip command. So you install it by running pip install. That's going to get you, like, for example, you are here and say pip install numpy. uh, NumPy is not a good command. You need to get the exact command from the library to run the install. So I'm just dialing in. So you can get the installation commands from pip install pandas. So launch, run the command, and then yeah, it just must be very simple command that, yeah, Python version, that's all good. And then import pandas as PD, and then for that you need to install it. So you go to the command line tool and pip install pandas. This is what it should be. And then as soon as you do this one, this will be taken care uh, into the into your you will be able to use this. Okay, so and this, because my environment is not in this one, I think that should be something different that should I've been using. So so I already I've already ran this one in this command line tool, but this terminal I've used is PyCharm. So I'll have to get this. But yeah, when you have this command, let's say, let me run it. So if you import numpy as nd and then start using it, it says as a warning, says import unused one. So that's what it is going to complain if you did not install. Say import unused import statement. You can, I mean, this is another problem, but if you start using this numpy, then it will ask for this is not identified in your module. So you'll have to install that for sure. Then that's when you can use it. So it's going to prompt you to install that. It's the same command, but I'm using it in a different terminal. That's why it's not accepting to install it for me. So, but it should be okay. So well, I'm rushing through. Then let's see. So this what it is doing. The command is I took some variables, 4 variables, and then I have used those 4 variables in this command. Same command that I've used in the command line tools with host, client ID, and secret. And then I passed these ones. And with that, this program will connect to the Datasphere system by this time. And then you run another command, Datasphere spaces list, and then you get the spaces, right, in JSON format, and then pass the list of spaces from the command. So you're just splitting them into individual lines. And then and you're going to run the another command saying you're going to loop each spaces. I mean, for space in spaces, you get to split after splitting it. Because what the objective of this program is, if I'm going to read all the spaces and read all the objects in the spaces and put it in CSV files. That's what this program is doing. And space details here, and basically you take the modeling objects, Datasphere objects. This is going to get you all the objects list in that particular space. So you're looping and get the objects list in that particular space, and then you're repeating this action for all the spaces. That's what the entire program is really doing. Once you get all the modeling objects, then you are putting them into CSV file, each CSV file that you have here. So data flows will go into this CSV file. These are all the data flows that I have it in mind. This is what we have created so far, all these tests. Local tables. These are all the local tables that we have. Basically, you are automating a job to read the information by using this script as an example script. Um, But the script is not only restricted to read only, but you can write it back. Like as I said, user creation, user password reset, updating and deleting, and every. So in the script, you can put anything that you wanted to do in a loop process for mass activity activities. So this is one of the examples, but you can have any different examples for your use cases, and then call them, provide the script, and it doesn't have to be provided to anyone. You can put it in your local machine, and then run it. Just the way you can run is just run this file, run CSV file. It's going to generate whatever. The only part here is that you are interacting with the Datasphere using OAuth client authentication as part of your program code. That's what you just need to make sure. And then you will be running the commands that are required to access the Datasphere objects right here. And with those two steps, connecting to our Datasphere system and then running the right commands and applying the programming logics to loop and process them, you will be able to achieve what you wanted to achieve. Yeah, that's it's pretty much what you're required to do. That you cannot do it in the UI user interface and wanted to run it programmatically. Okay, that's all I about you. I will share all the example code and everything to the test file sharing. You can follow them. So I will end this session today little early. So we'll talk about transportation and other stuff on Tuesday and Thursdays. Yeah. So CLI, this CLI is not for native HANA. This CLI is for DataSphere. For native HANA, we use BAS, Business Application Studio, where you have an integrated terminal that if you can remember, we were performing some terminal-based actions in the bottom, like listing the project and containers and everything that are deployment and every access related to HANA Cloud. You can use BAS terminal for as a command line tool. Before we used to do the command line prompt separately, but BAS has got integrated terminals so that you don't have to use different terminals for that. Yeah, terminal is not for developing objects in general. So if you have something already generated using certain formats, you put them in file or a script and you read that or you execute that program using command line. That's what it is. It's not, why does someone go and create um, a view in command line? There's no way nobody in can create. There's no way that you can go and create a view in the command line tool. Right? Why would someone create it? It is there's n- there's n- really going to help. So you always put the syntax of a view in a CSN format, which is or XML or whatever the formats that you have, and then upload them. If you are unable to do it graphically again and manually for many thousands of objects, that's when you are automating that process by putting it in the script and then reading that from the JSON file or CSN file and uploading it into the content of your datasphere. Your command line tool is not an alternative to your graphical interface. This is more supplement to your graphical user interface to perform automations that you are not able to do manually one by one using graphical interface. Okay, that's all we have. We will connect on Tuesday for the next session. Thank you.